Hello and welcome to the Built On Air podcast. Built On Air is a regular podcast where we talk with everyday people and learn about the amazing things they are doing with Airtable. Today's podcast is sponsored by Openside, the leading solutions provider for Airtable customers. Check out openside.com to learn more about their products and services that can take your Airtable usage to the next level. Use promo code BuiltOnAir to receive $20 towards any product purchase. On today's episode, we speak with Jason Humphrey, software developer and career coach in Boston, Massachusetts. Jason is the founder of Coding Career Fastlane, an online community focused on improving developers' skill sets by offering personalized feedback and creative approaches to handling a job search. In addition to Coding Career Fastlane, Jason works full-time as a principal software engineer, runs his own YouTube channel, and is extremely active on LinkedIn. He uses Airtable for everything from planning content for YouTube and LinkedIn posts to a tool for his coaching business. Jason shares two bases with us today, both of which are part of Coding Career Fastlane's 10-day job hunt challenge. The first base is a job hunt tracker, which features a table of positions the user is interested in, as well as tables to track resumes, interview questions, and message templates. Jason demonstrates how he has impressively programmed the web clipper block to seamlessly add job positions, companies, and contacts found on LinkedIn to this base. The second base is an overview of the 10-day job hunt challenge. This base offers directions for each day of the challenge and includes places for the user to track things like important keywords being used in their industry of choice. Together, these bases leave no stone unturned, truly covering every step of the job hunting process. Check out the show notes for links to Jason's bases on the Airtable universe, his LinkedIn profile, and more about Coding Career Fastlane.
Right, wonderful. So we'll talk about the 10-day challenge first. How does that sound?
Excellent.
So I created this challenge called the 10-day job hunt challenge. I found that I had done a 30-day challenge. People said it was too much. I have 25 hours of content. People say it's too much to dig through. I get it. It's a lot. At the same time, if you want to be really good at what you got to do, sometimes you got to go through all the content. But at the same time, I also want to point out that, people are right. There's a point to where you should be able to give them something in about 2 hours worth that will change their job hunt forever. And so that's what I did. I wanted to create 10 days worth of content, about 20 to 30 minutes a day of video content with worksheets and all this stuff that would, by the 10th day, change their job hunt. And that's exactly what I did here. And I put it into Airtables to help them keep track, to help them work on the worksheets, to help them go through the entire process. And so what you're looking at right now is the outline to the 10-day challenge, where we go from you look at your data to analysis. And these are just the high level of what we're doing. But you're going all the way from power words to messaging strategies to the job hunt strategy. And what's something to point out is it's a build up. And that's where when I marketed it, I didn't really tell people the 10 days. I didn't really want them to just pick apart I didn't tell them all that. I wanted to wait till they got to here to show these are the topics. This is what we're covering. And now when you're here, now is when I can really show you the process. And so I also put the steps in the process, because as you go through each worksheet has a part of the process, whether you need to have some knowledge, you need to search for something, you need to identify people, you need to do more research, you need to then refactor. And as you go down the process of this challenge, you're connecting with people, you are doing outreach, you're messaging, you're searching, you're doing some more researching and identifying stuff here. And all of it's coming together right here. As we go down, I also wanted to put in a task format. And you saw over there talked about the task column. Well, I actually want to say, no, here's your straight up tasks. Every single day, this is what you're doing. Each one of these tasks correlates to a table up above, and they can come down them. One of my favorite, because I have a really good YouTube video, you might have seen it, about what do employers want. I teach them how to do a job market analysis. And I've been teaching them on Airtables for a while, actually, how to do this. And it's a simple concept of looking at the data of 10 jobs you want. You pull out the soft skills and hard skills and any job specifics you see, and you place them all on the left. And then you put each job, like you put a name, these are just examples. And then by the end of it, you get a total and it shows you what is most impactful in your market. What is your market telling you? Is it APIs? Is it you need to be a collaborator? It's always really intriguing for people to look at this from a data perspective. And I use Airtables to really help me out with this lesson, not only in this challenge, but actually in the YouTube video I made where I show people. But that's where the rest of this challenge kind of goes along with this. There's worksheets for everything. I also help them, give them some power adjectives. They choose the ones they want. And we go through down the line. We create messaging template strategies and have them listed out here. We talk about different connection strategies. And we go through this entire worksheet and kind of take them through everything they need over the 10-day challenge. So you have to watch my videos in collaboration with Airtables and vice versa. There was no pulling it out. It made it easiest for me, and everyone who came back, who gave me feedback about Airtables from it, loved using it through this course. That leaves me with, that's a lot of talking for me. What questions do you have based on what you see?
That is awesome. First of all, I love the idea of like making this an interactive, like step-by-step worksheet in a way for somebody to use.
Yep.
And also I never would have thought of the job market analysis. That's just super cool to be able to see it bird's eye view, what people are interested in.
Yep. And that is actually probably one of the most simple lessons I provide, but the most impactful lessons. And feel free if anyone wants to go watch it we'll drop a link to that, because that video is really helpful. But it's so simple, but it's so powerful, because when you get more data, the more decisions you can make based off that data. The more you can look at it and go, oh, everyone's saying full stack developer. I'm saying web developer. I should probably change my job title to full stack developer, because that's what my market is telling me that I need.
Absolutely. And how did you come up with that idea of just looking for those keywords and putting it in that list and analyzing it? I just think that's so creative.
Yeah, I like systems, because I like to repeat results. Because what's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. Mm-hmm. Well, the only way to get around insanity that I found easily is to have systems in place where you can then analytically look back at the data. And I'm not a data scientist by any means, but I love analytically looking back at data to see, am I doing good? Am I doing better? Am I getting worse? And I think that's why I'm effective with my students that come to me that need help getting a job, is we look at every last little bit of detail we can to figure out what's going on, and are we getting better? Are we getting worse? And based on the data, we can make decisions. Well, I also look at the job market the exact same way to help people. I was like, if your job market's telling you something different, are you putting the right terms in? Are you getting better according to your job market? Or are you worse? Or you below it? And I just kind of had the idea one day of like, well, we're not, and this was many years ago, I had the idea, but I was just kind of sitting there going like, how can I make sure that they're using the right words? And I looked at one job description. I always taught people to break down job descriptions anyway, but then I was like, what if I had 2 or 3 of these together? How would I track it? And I started just kind of looking at like, oh, I can add multiple, and more data changes everything around. And just all of a sudden had the idea. I was like, oh, try it out. And before you know it, I'm like, holy crap, you had 10 of these, and you get a damn good idea of what your job market is saying.
Absolutely. And I'd be interested to see how that shifts over time, just from a bird's eye view about what employers are looking for as we get more and more into the future.
Yeah, me too. That's where I'm tracking data now. So we will see. I have lots of shared bases with me that have job market analysis on them. So I'm excited. Actually, to your question earlier, something that I would love to see is if I could actually code. I know natural language processing and some of that automation stuff is hard to get in, but if we could get to a place, especially on Airtables, that I could get Airtables to take a block to go get information from like Indeed.com and pull something in automatically, and then use some automation, use some machine learning, use some natural language processing. That's hard, I get it, but that would completely change the game for me on this tool, because then I could almost program everything I wanted into here.
Absolutely. And I agree. I've been waiting for Indeed to have a Zapier integration.
That would be so nice.
It really would. Well, bravo. That's wonderful. I love the idea of turning it into a challenge, and it's not just a place to hold data. It's actually useful and interactive. That's great.
Yeah. And I also took the liberty of making sure that if you want to see it in a calendar format day to day, if you want to do it in a daily Kanban view, if you want to use, just the daily view, like I try to make sure every aspect is well thought out in this challenge for you.
Excellent. And this is in the Airtable universe. We'll put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
Right. Wonderful.
Now there is one more that I would say I'm most interested in talking about.
Yeah.
Unless, did you have any other questions on the 10-day challenge, or should I jump into this one?
No, let's jump in. I'm excited.
All right. So this is at the end of the 10-day challenge. What's funny is I say funny, probably it was not funny, but to me it was funny. I got to creating the 10-day challenge, and for anyone who ever learns about me or knows about me, will completely back this up. I try to provide value at all steps. You under promise, over deliver.
I like
And I
that.
got to the end of the 10-day challenge. I was making it, and I was like, I feel like something's missing, even though it was already really good. Yes, it was already thoroughly thought out. I was like, something's missing. And my thought was, well, I've never had a job hunt tracker. I would love to help them track their jobs, because I don't think people track their jobs correctly. They don't track enough about it. Like, just saying, here's the job is not enough. And just saying you applied, not enough. And you can already see by all the tables, I track a lot of stuff. But I was getting to the end of creating it, and I just thought to myself, okay, what could I do? This is what I do. So, like, with 2 days left, like before I had to have it finalized and shipped out, I went and created this. I had the idea, I had the know-how, I had everything in mind of what I'd wanted people to utilize. And I just never actually built it out, because I just kept telling people, just track it, just do it on your own. And finally I did it. And this is what came out of it. This is one of the last lessons I teach people in the 10-day challenges. Let's go track our jobs properly. And because if you pay attention to the process, this process and this data, much like I was saying previously, this will help you get better every time.
Awesome.
So let's talk through. So this is the job hunt tracker. The idea here is you have your job leads, all right? And you have your job titles. If there's tasks, you saw from the last one, I like putting a task tab in. So if you have something to do, the due dates will auto-populate in here, so that at a high view, oh, I got to send an email out by tomorrow. Granted, this is my template form, so I don't have a lot of good demo data in here. I try to leave it null for people for the most part. I have a couple things, but you can do this. You can put your status of your offer. You can put estimated salaries, because places like LinkedIn, which I like to pair this particular tracker with, has this data. You have your job description, a bunch of different skills, information that is easily accessible that we track right here. Along with, if you wanted to click on this, it would take you to shared connections. You can actually pull this off LinkedIn, which is kind of cool. So you can click on this and instantly say, who do I share connections with this company?
Wow.
Application URL, click on that, go to that. Did you apply to it? Location. And then I also want to go a step further here, and this is where I want to talk about doing it properly. Let's track the resume you submitted, because we've all heard that you update your resume to the job description. Great. Let's track your exact resume you did. If you did create another one, great. Let's create another one and track it. What tasks do you have to do? Oh, schedule a phone screen, follow up. Great. What interview was it? A Lowe's phone screen. That's the company. What's great when you get into this is, if you start looking at the interview, I want to go a step further, even further, and I want to track who's it with. So who are interviewing you? Was it you? Was it Brady and Jason? Great, because if they are, we can go research them later. If you know coming up that these are your people interviewing you, if we track this and we go look up their LinkedIns, we can find a lot of information out about them ahead of time. Because you'd be surprised in the tech industry how often, if you can find your interviewer, you can generally get a good indication of what type of questions they're going to ask you.
Very smart.
There's also, you can have the job lead in here I have that you can track against it, the outcome, because this is where when we talk about looking back at the data, we want to be able to see yay, nay, what went wrong, what went good, the company. So at any given point, you can kind of tie this back to the company, because at some point I want to show people how you can correlate the questions you're going to get with the companies. And this is where this data is very valuable. I also want people to track the contacts. We saw, I was just doing that there. Track the companies, track the interview questions you get, because at some point you'll get asked every question you can. Like, if you interview forever, they'll eventually not be able to ask you new questions. And I've seen students that go for 25, 50 interviews, and sometimes that's just what it takes to learn. But if you have 25 or 50 interviews of questions, you have the best study material anyone can provide, because you have the live, raw data that people have actually asked. Going down a couple more things, there's the main resume. As you guys see, we uploaded as a PDF. Communications, any communications you have, I like to help people track this so that we know what's going on, so we know if you need to do it. I teach them messaging templates in here. It comes from the course, but I want to show people, like, you can use a message template with your communication so that you can kind of craft that rather quickly, and you don't have to think about it. Makes life a bit simpler. With all this together, this is like, okay, great, Jason, it's a It's a tracker. That's not the cool part about this. And I know we talked about this earlier, and I'm excited to show people now why this tool actually, in this tracker and Airtables, makes a difference in your job hunt.
Mm-hmm.
It's the blocks, straight up. I took a lot of time to make sure the blocks here are effective to make this better than any other experience you've had tracking your jobs in the past. So right off the bat, you already see we have the one block of the job search tracker. I want to make sure right off the bat that you could search anything in here, because at some point it's going to get convoluted and heavy with lots of information. Great, you can track it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, I put the dashboard, the typical pivot table and charts. You know, right now there's not a lot of data, so it doesn't look that great. But if you want to look at that from a dashboard perspective, something else is, flashcards. I love this block because when people get 50 to 100 different questions in here, we sit down in a session together and we'll pull this up and say, all right, let's go a couple of these flashcards. Let's go through them. Let's expand through them. Let's show the answer. Let's go work through them together to make sure they're practicing these. Nice little block.
I love that.
I also put this send interview one or send email. To be honest, I've never actually got anyone to use it just because not everyone wants to sign up for SendGrid and pay for a chunk, and that's okay. But the thought was you could send emails straight from your tracker.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea. Harder to actually use personally. Interview prep, I was messing with these. I think this goes to the sheets. I was messing with kind of trying to create these sheets for these prep sheets for people based on a particular row, right?
Right.
So I think it's useful. I think it's great and it's here, but honestly, I haven't got to explore. This is where when we can customize a little bit more, I think I might be even more of a fan, but nonetheless, it starts getting there. I think that's great. We're not even to the bread and butter of what matters. This is what really matters, is the web clipper. For anyone who's never used the web clipper, I encourage you to start looking at the web clipper. For anyone who has used it, you know what I'm about to show you. I basically took this entire process and I am able to clip it off the web, and that way you never have to type in any of this stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you exactly right now. So something for anyone looking to do job hunting right now, I encourage you to check this process out. Fun little tip that you can use. In your today's viewed in LinkedIn, Andrew Seaman is an editor at LinkedIn. This post has been up in the top news and views for the last couple months, ever since in today's age of what's happening going on in the world. You know, getting jobs is more important even than ever because the employment rate's gone skyrocketing up. And so this post has been trending for a long time. Well, this is a great post to come here and get some leads. To not only get leads of people to talk to get leads for jobs, to get leads on companies, to figure out who's actually hiring and where to focus your time. And when we're focusing our time somewhere, I like to show Lowe's. So I like to click on Lowe's and show people, this is one of my favorite companies to show from a tech perspective how you can utilize this tool, and you'll see that throughout the tool. I use Lowe's as an example. Let's go over to their Lowe's job page. One of the things I wanted to do was, okay, great, you're here, but how do you source this information out, copy and pasting it? And this is where the web clipper comes in. So you can click on the web clicker in the Airtables tool and come down here and say, oh, I want to track a LinkedIn job hunt lead. Boom. Track it. We have the job description. We have the title. We have the shared connections URL. You have the map job skills. Now, if the estimated salary is on here, only then will it show up. And I don't see the estimated salary, and that's okay. So that didn't show up. But we have the retail, the industry, the job function, seniority level, employment, application. We have all the information we need. So all that good stuff you saw previously can now be clipped in 2 seconds. Boom, added to record, done deal. Does it make life easy? Now that's not it. We want to go a step further because you saw how we track jobs. We want to look at the companies, because I do believe thoroughly in, if you don't know the company, if you haven't paid attention to the company, good luck in trying to sell to that company. So we want to look at their company. And so something I like to have people do, as you saw, is track it, come into the web clippers and track a company. What you're going to notice though is right off the bat, there's no company description. Yes, we talk about the giant part because we grab that information in, we grab the name, we get the image, you can put notes in the LinkedIn URL, but there's no job description or company description because I chose the highlight one here. I let you highlight what you want from this company perspective, because I found in studying lots of companies on LinkedIn, it's really hard to judge which is their actual company description, which is just a sales pitch. Mm-hmm. So you can do that, add it to record, boom, got the company in there. And actually, Something I didn't point out I think it'll be in this one. I do believe we'll talk about this one, but you can do the related records in here. You can also come down here and search the recruiter. So now, yes, you went from the looking at who's hiring right now. You found a couple leads. Oh, great. You found a company you like. Let's search for recruiters and their employees. So you can target the people you want right now. Great. Let's go target this guy. And we're going to target him, and we're going to actually, not that web clipper. We can come in here and actually target a contact. And right here, you see, we can select companies, and Lowe's is in here twice because you saw I just added it twice. But now Lowe's is in here. Boom, that's the company. And you didn't see phone or email because something with this web clipper, caveat for everyone, you have to open up the contact information. If it's not on the screen, the Airtable web clipper cannot find it. So now, company, contact. Oh, normally it does for me. Oh, well, it didn't this time. That's okay. But you normally have to have that open. I might have need to do it earlier. But nonetheless, you can come in, grab their contact information. And now as you're here, you can see there's 2 Lowe's companies. There's an extra new job lead. And everything you had to do is fully automated in this process now. Or not fully automated, but fully makes your life a bit easier. You can manually automate this process, if that's a way to say it. Okay. So I'll leave that then. What are your thoughts on this?
That is awesome. I had said to you before, I've never seen the web clipper in action, and I'm super impressed and already thinking of all the cool things I could do with it. But this is an awesome use of that. And it's really, it's saving so much time copying, pasting, going from one window to the next. It's just like, boom, you're done. And then you have a big list of everything that you've looked at, which is just awesome.
Yeah, it really is. And I have absolutely loved using it. I think it's probably my favorite block of them all. I know there's a lot of good blocks. The job search or the in general search one, that's a great one. You know, you got some other ones in there that do notes and flashcards. There's tons of great stuff. The scripting one, but this one is like my bread and butter to make people's lives better.
I can tell. And I honestly, I don't know that I've ever seen a base that covers all of the bases in the way that yours did. Like you've got the flashcard thing. That is just like the cherry on top. I think that's so cool. It adds another interactive layer.
Oh yeah. I guess I should say this one too, because I don't get many opportunities to talk about this one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of my favorite that from a developer perspective. And I guess I'm just going to throw it back out there. So there's one more tab I have called extra information for people that just want to see how this is all built out. Yeah, you could do the Gantt chart. That's great. But this is probably my favorite as a developer, to come in with this block and actually see the base schema and understand, because I know we've talked about it. This is a relational database in the cloud with an amazing front end. Seeing this is a developer's dream, because like this is how we think about when you're building an application out. You think about it in the sense of your data and your tables and your relationships. And the fact I can just come create something, relate it, and before you know it, someone's designing me a database schema based on what I built. It's like, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty nice. It's a pretty great high-level view of everything you did.
I love it too. Like, I haven't been able to use it in an effective way just because when I've tried, I have it on these giant bases that are just, it literally ends up being like this big, and I can't zoom in to check out all the relationships. Like this, I love seeing it in this way because you can see everything on one screen. It's so helpful.
Yeah, and it's like, this is the exact same thing. If I was to sell a higher up or sell somebody on a project, consulting wise, like I would share this with them. I'd be like, yeah, this is how we're going to scheme out your data. This is exactly what we're going to do. So the fact this is like an instant feature you can have and just boom, have it. That's another aspect. So yeah, you're right. I love all the different blocks. I love adding a bunch of different blocks. And I definitely pulled, as you saw, a lot of them together for sure.
Absolutely. And in a very effective way too. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm super excited to see what comes next for you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate getting a chance to come talk about this stuff. I've loved everything I've gotten to do with Airtables. Hopefully there'll be more engagements in the future. I imagine there will be, but I I thoroughly enjoy getting to work on stuff like this and help people's lives get better with a tool such as Airtables.
I could certainly tell, and I know our listeners will as well. Where can our listeners go to learn more about you?
They can go to codingcareerfastlane.com. There's a ton of great stuff on there, but the best place to probably find me, I'd say, like, yes, you can go there, go check out the mail list, go check out that stuff, great. But the best place to probably find me is LinkedIn. Meet-Jason-Humphrey at LinkedIn, or LinkedIn/in/meet-Jason-Humphrey. That's probably one of the best places to find me. I post a lot on there. I do a lot for LinkedIn. A lot of my strategies in the end do revolve around helping people find new connections through LinkedIn. And that's kind of, I guess you'd say, pair Airtables with LinkedIn, and I can show you how to get a job pretty damn quickly. But that's one of my favorite places to be at. So you can find me there, or you can find me on codingcareerfastlane.com. And I would love to help out in any way I can with anyone that needs help with this stuff.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We'll put those links in the show notes.
Awesome.
Have a great afternoon, Jason. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.